I met Iliana her first year here on campus.
She was the voter and political engagement specialist.
And I remember they asked me, like, what does social justice mean to you? And I was like, oh my gosh, no one has ever asked me that question before. Like, I have to come up with a really good answer right now.
She primarily focused on encouraging and empowering our students to register to vote and also to make a plan to vote.
I mean, she's done a ton of different things to encourage people to come out to vote. And I think she and her team learned a lot about how voting works and how different it is from state to state. And then we're able, if you came up and talked to them at the table, Iliana would be able to respond to your questions. Oh, you're from this state. Okay, this is how it's going to work there, because they took the time to really do that research to learn how it works. And for an institution like ours, where we pull students from all across the US, that's really critical.
National elections are super flashy. Presidential elections are super flashy. And I think that's where you get a lot of people that are like, have elections and voting on their mind. And I think that, yes, it's important to engage in that way at the very least, because you're creating like that pattern and that habit of voting. But I try to tell people, in my personal opinion, voting in your local elections is even more important. The more local it is, the more your voice is being heard, the more you're having an impact, and the more that the absence of your vote is felt too. Because those are elections that are like sometimes won by 100 votes or less, right?
One of the things I was thinking a lot about was just the way she approaches the work, and that has made all the difference. She grew up in a family and an environment that cares deeply about human rights and people, and she carried that into her role.
I was really raised to feel like I was a part of a community. I was a part of a community, and I was responsible to that community. My dad and my grandpa are union organizers. My grandma's a community organizer. My mom's an activist. Like, I grew up thinking that is just the way that everyone engaged.
When she's tabling, she's not just sitting at the table, she's grabbing people's attention and bringing them into the conversation.
What she took away from that were skills around nonviolent communication and skills about how to listen and hear for understanding rather than to just combat. And I've seen that show up in her work in some just pretty incredible ways in how she does her work, but also just in how she lives into relationships with people on campus.
One of the way she did that through our orientation program was building in programs that allowed students who didn't see themselves on campus to find their place on campus. That core value of hers of just wanting to make places accessible for everyone and really understanding and learning without judgment, but leading with curiosity to learn about people, to learn about perspectives, to make a well-rounded and inclusive community.
And for me, when I look at our world today, that's exactly what we need. We need people who are willing to engage deeply, reflectively, empathetically across difference, to have the hard conversations, and to do so from a place of, I see you as a person, I value your personhood, even if we come out of this in totally different places.
If you want to see change in your community, you have to be a part of that change, right? And so fighting or striving for social justice in your community, I think, is like something that's always necessary and always a worthwhile endeavor. And it's something that motivates me in times when things feel hard or hopeless. It's like, okay, but I'm not just sitting around complaining about it, I'm doing something. My name is Iliana Barnes-Diaz, and I am a sociology anthropology major here at the University of Puget Sound.